Okay, it's now 6:02, so I want to be respectful of your time. So I'm going to say, let's get started. First of all, I would like to say good evening and welcome to the class of 2025. My name is Lori Cizik, and I'm one of the counselors from CHS who will be presenting to you this evening. On behalf of the CHS Counseling Department, we'd like to thank you for joining us. I also want to mention, if you're unable to stay for the entirety of the presentation this evening, or maybe you know of another parent and student that could not attend, please let them know that this webinar will be posted to our website on Tuesday, March 29th. Now you may wonder, why Tuesday? Our tech person that we have that does all of our posting, he's actually out of state. And so just be patient with us and check back on Tuesday. And this webinar will be posted for you to view, as well as the presentation slides and the classroom presentation that we gave to your students today. So just know that will all be on our website on Tuesday. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. There we go. Okay, first, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and introduce you to our counseling department. Your student will continue to work with the same counselor they were assigned this year for the next 3 years. First of all, we have Mr. Jeremy Trosh. Unfortunately, he could not be with us tonight, but we have all the other counselors with us. Mr. Trosh works with students' last names A through CHAT. Then we have Christy Bergsling, or also she goes by Mrs. Vogel since she just got married recently. She works with students' last names of CHAU to GON. Then we have Mrs. Mitchell, who works with students' last names of GOO through LE. Then we have myself, Mrs. Cizik, and I have last names LI through ON. Then we have Mr. Anderson, who works with students' last names OO through SI. Then we have Paula Hebert. She works her caseload as students with the last names through SJ through Z. And then we have Mrs. Julianne Ciccarelli, who is our support counselor. She works with students who have 504s or any students who may need some additional support. Okay, so over the next few slides, I want to review some of the information that counselors shared with your students during their freshman English class earlier today. During our presentations, we showed students how to access the 10th grade course selection form, how to find valuable resources to aid in their selections, and also how to edit their selections once they were submitted. First, I want to show you how to access the 10th grade course selection resources. So step one, you're going to go to the Claremont High School webpage. Step two, in the navigation bar at the very top, you're going to click on Counseling Link. The next step is, once you receive that drop-down menu, you're going to click on Course Selection for 2022-2023, as you can see on the screen. So as you can see here, this will take us to the web page that includes all the resources that you will need to help your student in their course selection process. So looking at the first resource link next to the yellow arrow, we have the Graduation and College Requirement Comparison PDF. This is a great chart that not only lists the Claremont High School graduation requirements, but it also has the UC and the CSU admission requirements, and also the NCAA requirements. We will be reviewing each of these requirements in more detail a little bit later in the presentation. Now on the second link, we have our course description booklet. Every course that we offer at CHS, with the exception of any new courses, are listed in the course description book, along with any prerequisites. Our course description book can be a very valuable resource to learn about the many courses that we offer at CHS. The third link that we have, that is a listing of all of our CHS elective classes. Every elective class that we offer at CHS, including any of the new courses, will be listed on this link. I strongly encourage students and parents to read through the list in its entirety as we offer a ton of different electives. Now, the fourth link gives further details for any course that requires an application, maybe an interview or an audition. If you select any of these courses, please check the link for the next steps on when and how to audition, interview, or where to find an application. The fifth link is to the sophomore course selection form. This is the link that students use today to submit their course requests. However, as I'm going to show you in a little bit, students can edit their responses as many times as they want between now and Sunday, April 3rd at midnight. Moving on to that sixth link that we have. That shows the schedule for counselors to meet with each student individually through their PE class. Students also received a paper copy of this schedule in their English class presentation earlier today. And last but not least, the seventh link that we have here is a little bit of information where you're going to be able to find tonight's webinar, the PowerPoint, and the classroom presentation counselors gave to your students. Once again, that will be posted on the website on Tuesday, March 29th. Once a student clicks on submit when we worked with the students earlier today and they clicked on, they submitted their course request, they were taken to this page right here. Now remember, once again, students can edit their responses as many times as they want between now and Sunday, April 3rd at midnight. But just a reminder to students, you must be logged into your CUSD account to be able to access that course request form and to make any changes. Okay, so when does school start? This next year, for the 22-23 school year, school will start on Wednesday, August 31st. And just a reminder, sophomore registration will be held on Wednesday, August 24th, the week before school starts. It's really important that all students attend registration, as if you probably remember from last year, that's where you'll get your schedule, you'll get your books, you can log into your locker. Any other important items that you might need, you'll be able to pick up at registration. So just a reminder, at CHS, we have two different start times. Students have the option to start at 0 period and enroll in a 0 through 5 schedule, or a first period and have a 1 through 6 schedule. Although many students often request the 0 period start, we do have limited course offerings for the 0 period. Keep in mind, the majority of our students start at first period. Students are required to enroll in 6 classes, but upcoming sophomores, here's the good news. If you meet the grade, attendance, and discipline requirements, you may leave campus for lunch. Criteria for attendance and discipline and behavior, all of that information is reviewed at each semester to see if you qualify. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about credits. 5 credits is possible for every course you enroll per semester. So for example, if you enroll in a full year course, that's actually 10 credits per year. Reminder that a D is passing, but it's not sufficient for the next level if you want to go on the next level in math or a language, and often some of our higher level science classes. And also remember, a C or better is required for a 4-year college in any of the college prep classes. And also a reminder that an F grade does not receive any credit whatsoever. Okay, so what happens along the way, and hopefully this does not pertain to you, but what happens if you earn a D or F along the way? Well, we do have a number of summer school options. CUSD offers summer school for remediation in English, biology, math, social science. We also offer advancement opportunities, which you can see on the screen here. Each year, it seems we've been increasing some of those options, which I think is pretty neat. This next summer, we're going to be offering advancement and enrichment classes in pre-calculus, chemistry, PE, Art 110, which is a dual enrollment class. Actually, Mr. Anderson's going to talk about that in a little bit more in depth a little bit later. And then new this year, and we're excited about this, we're offering a new course next school year. And to get students interested and excited, we're offering an intro to mental and behavioral health this summer. So students, if they find that interesting, they can enroll in the class next year to further study that particular area. If you want to find the information on how to register for summer school, it is located under the counseling tab on the CHS website. So I do want to address, counselors are often asked about summer class options outside of CHS. If you would like to enroll in a summer class outside of CHS, you must get permission from your counselor prior to enrollment, as not all outside courses are consistent with the content, format, and pacing of CHS classes, particularly in math and world language. And some out-of-district coursework may not even meet our graduation or UC requirements or even NCAA. So it's really important that you talk to your counselor first before you enroll in any course outside of CUSD. So the next slide here gives a breakdown of the credits that are required to graduate from Claremont High School. At this point, I'm now going to hand it over to Mr. Anderson, and he's going to give us a breakdown of each of the Claremont High School graduation requirements, as well as the four-year college admission requirements.
So when we visited your students' English classes today, not only did we walk them through their course selection process, so every student completed the course contract and selected courses that they are able to edit after tonight's presentation or meeting with you up until April 3rd. But during that time, we also walked students through or introduced them to the high school graduation requirements, as well as the college admissions requirements, referred to as the A through G requirements. You'll notice later on, when you have a chance to look at the course request form, that we list, organize our course requests in the A through G order, so students are going through and they're making sure that they're selecting not only the high school graduation requirements, but if their plan is to attend a four-year college or university, that we're also monitoring their selection of completing the A through G requirements. So the first requirement for graduation, also referred as the A requirement, is social science. Students begin taking social science in 10th grade, so every student today selected a world history course. We only offer one course within world history. Next year in 11th grade, they will complete US history. Then their senior year, they'll complete government and economics, and that will meet the 3-year requirement for the social science. For college admissions, students are required to complete 2 years of a social science, 1 year of world history, which they will begin next year in 10th grade, and 1 year of US history, which they will complete their 11th grade year. Later on the slide, you will notice that the government and economics that is required for high school graduation fulfills the G elective for the A through G. English, the B requirement, 4 years are required for high school, 8 semesters. That's identical to the requirement for college admission. Students need to complete 4 years of an English course. In order to meet high school graduation, students are able to pass the course with a minimum grade of a D, and that will earn 5 credits to fulfill the high school graduation requirement. For A through G or college admission, students must pass those courses with a C or better in order to fulfill the requirement for the college admissions. So all students today selected their sophomore English course. Next year, they will complete junior level English. Senior year, they will complete the senior level English. Math, the C requirement, 2 years are required for high school graduation. One of those years must be integrated math 1 or higher, and then 1 additional year, 2 semesters of any math course that we offer at Claremont High School. The requirement for college admission, students must complete 3 years, a minimum of 3 years, and that must include integrated math 1, 2, or 3, and it's highly recommended that students enroll in math all 4 years that they're enrolled in high school. The D requirement, the lab science requirement for high school graduation, is 1 year of a life science and 1 year of a physical science. To meet the college requirement, students must complete the same thing, 1 year of a life science. Most students are completing biology now. If not this year, they will enroll in a biology course next year. And then 1 year of a physical science, either chemistry or physics. In addition to the requirements mentioned before, students must complete a PE requirement. Students are required to complete 20 credits of PE. All freshmen are required to enroll in PE, so your son or daughter currently is enrolled in a 9th grade PE course in which they're receiving 10 credits. They have an option, either 12th grade, 10th grade year, 11th grade year, or 12th grade year to complete the additional 10 credits towards PE. If your student is enrolled in either band, PE, color guard, cheer, or one of our dance teams, They can earn up to 2.5 credits per season of sports. So if they participate for 4 seasons of any of those activities, they will not be required to complete a PE course, any remaining PE courses to meet that 20 credit requirement. A great option for students if their summer is free and they're not taking any other courses, we do offer PE over the summer in which they can enroll in 2 sessions of PE to complete that 10 credit requirement. For high school graduation, we combine the world language and visual and performing arts requirement into one. So students must complete 1 year or 2 semesters of a world language or a visual performing art or a career tech ed course, also known as one of our ROP courses on campus. Colleges break this requirement up in 2. They require students to complete 2 years minimum of the same world language, which is referred to as the E requirement, as well as 1 year of visual or performing arts, also known as the F requirement. This just gives you more detail of the world language requirement. To graduate from CHS, world language is not required. It is either a year of a world language, a year of a fine art, or a year of a tech ed. For students to be eligible for 4-year colleges, they must complete 2 years of the same world language. Again, 3 years is recommended. The last requirement for college admissions is the G requirement. Students easily fulfill this requirement, as mentioned before, through the government and economics course that they take for social science for their high school graduation requirement. Or they can fulfill this from a 3rd year of a world language, science, or additional years of math or college prep elective courses. When we guided students through their course selection, they were able to select up to 2 elective courses. All students were required to enroll in, again, a social science, which was world history, their English course, their current math course, as well as a science course, leaving 2 slots open for elective options. If a student is taking a world language, that will fulfill one of those elective options. If they're not taking a world language, they will get to choose from 2 of our many electives that we offer at Claremont High School. When choosing electives, we did ask students to choose a primary elective as well as 2 to 3 alternates to ensure that they have a better chance of getting to an elective of their choice. We ask students to keep in mind, this is a great option for students when considering elective courses. Citrus College offers dual enrollment courses on our campus. These are courses taught by Claremont High School teachers during our school day. The great benefit of these courses is that students earn 10 credits for 1 semester worth of work. They're college level courses, and they transfer for 3 college units as well. Courses that are offered or open to the current rising sophomores are Muse 113, which is a history of rock and roll, Art 110, a visual art. We also have 2 history courses, History 139, which is History of California, History 160, History of Women. We offer the Counseling 160, as well as Counseling 207. If a student is selecting one of these courses, we encourage them to select 2 because they're semester long and it will balance out their schedule with them earning 20 high school credits as well as 6 college units. One of the things we monitor in addition to the high school graduation requirements as well as the college requirements is if students are student athletes and planning to play at the NCAA Division I or II level. You will notice when you get a chance to review the course selection form that one of the first things that we ask students on that form is, what is their post-secondary plan? And this is not something that they're tied to, but we just ask them to think about what is their plan after they graduate Claremont High School. If they indicate that they're planning on playing sports at the Division I or II level, we make sure to monitor and guide them through the NCAA eligibility process. This is something that starts their junior year. They will register with the NCAA Eligibility Center. And there's 16 courses that they need to complete, as well as registration with the NCAA Eligibility Center. Claremont High School does have a semester-long tech technology requirement. It's 1 semester where students earn 5 credits. Many students have already passed or earned credits for this course at El Roble. If they have not, we do offer a challenge exams that students are able to take. There is one upcoming this spring. That date hasn't been announced yet. Once the date is announced, it will be emailed out or sent out via Canvas for students to enroll to take the challenge exam. And this will waive that academic requirement for graduation if students are successful in the challenge exam. Some of the things that they should be proficient in is Word, Excel, Google Spreadsheets, PowerPoint, Google Presentations. Those are some of the things that they're going to be asked to perform on that challenge exam. In addition to excelling in the classroom, we want students to be well-rounded and have a great high school experience. Claremont High School offers numerous clubs and organizations on campus. Below is a list of some of the things that students can get involved in. Now that things have opened up, all of these clubs are active on campus and out in the community. And we highly encourage students to get involved in club organizations and activities on campus. We do at the beginning of each year have a club rush. That's in the fall, where each club sets up a table and students are able to go around, ask questions, and figure out when the clubs are meeting and to get signed up to get involved in these clubs or organizations on campus. There's volunteer activities outside of Claremont High School within the community as well. This is a short list of some of the things that students have been involved in the past. And again, an excellent opportunity for students to get involved in their community and volunteer opportunities. Not only does it help them grow as a person, but it is also something that colleges and universities are expecting out of students to complete while they're over their high school career. We do offer the Psa Team. This is a practice exam for the SAT. Most students begin taking this sophomore year. Junior year is the year where they can qualify for the National Merit Scholar, measures the critical reading, math, and writing, and is good practice for the SAT if needed for college admissions. Now I'm going to turn it over to our IB middle years coordinator. I know she was in the classroom and she met with parents as well as students. And she's going to give additional information if students are interested in the IB Middle Years program, which is a brand new program that's going to be starting at Claremont High School this upcoming school year.
Hi, good evening. My name is Andrea Gosnell. As they mentioned, I am the MYP coordinator for Claremont Unified. The middle years program is going to be starting next year, grades 7 through 10 at El Roble and CHS next year. At El Roble, all students are given access to the program as we start to introduce it. Next year, if you and your student are interested in this program, you do have to opt in. So students in their registration have to check a yes, they want to be a part of the MYP program. This is going to be a brief presentation. However, on Monday night, there is going to be a full presentation introducing the program. Dr. O'Connor will put out an email with the invite, as well as in the chat. When I am done, I will put in my email and the meeting information as well. So the intent of the IB program is to build international mindedness. And they do this by incorporating 3 visions into every class that your students attend here at CHS. First, we identify the fact that all of these students are different individuals with different strengths, and we want to acknowledge that within the classroom. So not only does it acknowledge it, but it allows students to show their knowledge in a variety of ways. Oftentimes, students are told exactly how the classroom is going to go and exactly the output in which they must show. And according to the IB, we want to give kids a variety of ways to show what they know through multiple perspectives. So I went over this with them in class in a presentation on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Also, it's the idea that it is our intent to embed global citizenship within their curriculum by embedding current events as well as cultural understandings. So all of the curriculum is rewritten by teachers who, one, go to training, and two, work collaboratively to embed this vision into their curriculum. And the goal through all of this is that we turn our learning into action. What is our role within the world around us and our community? And that community can be defined as your friend group, your neighborhood, your school, Claremont, our state, and to the extent of the world around us. What is our role within that? So there is a layer of taking action in the community, and that is all embedded into the instruction that is given in the classrooms. So just to reiterate, students are, whether they're MYP or not MYP, hitting the state standards in grades 9 and 10. They are just introduced to the state standards and taught the state standards through this philosophy. The intent of the program is to look at the whole child and be holistic in nature, as well as constantly giving them big ideas that they unpack throughout the units. It's involved in interdisciplinary understandings, and just giving them the idea that they too can be creators of their education. So their voice is often heard within the classroom. So as teachers collaborate to write these units, they not only embed this philosophy into it, but they monitor students' progress through mini assessments to ensure that not only they're gaining the standards-based instruction, the rigor that we are providing for them, but as well as the understanding of these big concepts, and to allow them to reteach or extend learning when necessary. And it's really to acknowledge that our job in schools is to, of course, teach our students the academics, but it's also, in the point of view of the IB, our job to create students who are prepared for the world outside of high school. And our world is just getting more complex. And therefore, it is the belief that if we embed these understandings within our curriculum, reshape their experiences in the classroom, it will prepare them for the world when they go out, when we launch them into that real world. So again, there will be a second presentation on this. I believe I have one more slide. Yes. That I will go into more depth of this philosophy. We want to acknowledge that this is a beginning of a rollout. So as I mentioned, this is coming to Claremont starting next year for grades 7 through 10. Next year, this year and next year, we are in what we call the candidacy phase. We are training teachers, we are rewriting curriculum, and we are starting to actually teach that curriculum, this last triad, to expose students, one, to that thinking, and two, kind of get teachers comfortable with this philosophy of education. Next year, all students who opt in the program will be placed into these classes. At that time, throughout the whole year, half of their curriculum will align to the expectations of the IB. It takes time to write units, and then we have to reflect on them, and it's a constant process. So we don't often teach a unit and write a unit at the same time. So therefore, it's a gradual process to become a complete program. After next year, in fall of 2023, we will get an authorization visit. The authorization visit, prior to them coming, we have to send evidence of the effectiveness of our program. So it's with units, assessment, surveys that are given out, lots of information is sent in. And then a team of an authorization team from IB will come onto both El Roble and CHS's site to evaluate the effectiveness of our program. And so they preview all those documents because when they come to site, they're looking for the culture, climate, and the understanding of the philosophy within the school site, more with interviews and interaction, not just with tangible evidence. They want to feel and see that program as they walk classrooms and do interviews with all stakeholders, from the board to parents to students to teachers. Once you are authorized, you go through an evaluation process. So every 5 years, IB will return to Claremont to evaluate our program. And this just shows that there's a high level of expectations to call identify as an IB school. We do have this within the 11th and 12th grade. It is not intended that this program only extend to students who are interested in that IB program, although it is a great stepping stone. It is aligned in philosophy. The intent of the MYP is that it's accessible to all students. There is no academic minimum requirement in English or math to get into the MYP program. All kids can access it no matter their academic level. So it's really to set a platform up for students to be successful in any three of the 11th and 12th grade options here at CHS. So no matter if IB is the vision you or your student has for themselves in 11th or 12th grade, it is a platform for all students, whether you're going into college prep, AP, or IB. And I'm going to put my email and the meeting information in the chat right now.
All right, perfect. So for the electronic course requests, again, as we have talked about previously, these are going to be due on Sunday, April 3rd. And then counselors will be reviewing your course requests with each freshman via their PE class starting April the 12th, I believe. And counselors are available, parents, just so you know, and we let your students know this today in class, that counselors are available during office hours and lunch. A lot of times I'll get an email or a message of, hey, can I make an appointment with you? You don't need to make an appointment with us. We are available every day, that office hours and lunch. My name's Christy Bergsling, or Vogel. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Right now, we're going to kind of switch gears and we're going to talk about what we went over with your students today. You can see here, this is the screen that you will most likely see when your students log into their course request form. Before I get too far into this, some of you guys have been utilizing that chat and utilizing that question answer. We greatly appreciate that. Go ahead and put your questions in there. Some of them we will answer live at the end. Some of them, I know our counselors have been working on answering questions for you guys throughout this presentation. So today, your students completed this Google form. What you will do when you meet with them, I told the students today, maybe pick a time with your parents, sit down on the couch, go get a coffee together, go get an ice cream together, make it some quality time where you're able to truly look and see what did you enroll in. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and click on that, edit your response, or your student, I know Miss Cizik touched on this, or I believe that she did, that you must be logged into a CUSD Google account to be able to view this form. That means that it would need to be your student's Google account to be able to view this form. Now, I'm going to go over kind of the nuts and bolts of this form, but today we did go into every English classroom and go over this with your students. And also we will be putting this on our school's website on Tuesday. So you can see we went step by step with your students. So if you'd like a little bit more in depth of this, go ahead and watch that video with your student on Tuesday when it's available. We have our course selection resources. If you keep scrolling, we do have that summer school. We would encourage your students to sign up for summer school if you know that they need it, if they know that they need it. Next, students with an IEP, they are going to, their case carriers will look over their schedules with the counselor to make sure that they are accurate. Now, we went step by step with your student. They needed to put in their ID number, their last name, their first name. I would encourage you to make sure this is accurate. We've had some inaccuracies of which we've been going through the rising senior class and the rising junior class. Next, they'll put whether or not they have a 504 or IEP. If you don't know what this is, if your student doesn't know what this is, it means they probably do not, because you would know if they did. The next is one of my very favorite questions because it asks them about their future. Do they want to join the military, possibly go into work for vocation right out of high school? Are they thinking 2-year college, 4-year college? And we're not asking them at 14, 15 years old to have a concrete plan. This is what I'm doing. This is changeable, right? And so they can actually choose all of these options. They can choose one of these options. It's just good for the counselor as we're sitting with your student. If I know their plan or their goal long-term is to go to a 4-year college, but they didn't take, let's say, a world language this year, I'm going to make sure that I enroll them in that world language next year. So that's why it's really important for us to kind of have an idea in the back of our mind. We also want your student to have all of their doors open to them. I love nothing more than a senior that says, you know what, Miss Bergsley, I want to go to community college. I know I'm A through G eligible. I'm eligible to go to four-year college, but this is the path I want to go down, because it means that they kept all of their doors open all throughout high school, so that they actually got to make a choice at the end of high school. And we just want all the choices available for your student at the end of high school. We'd also ask that if they're interested in the IB diploma program, in their junior and senior year, just to let us know. Again, it helps us with planning, making sure that they're on track to take the right classes for IB. And then finally, if we have any athletes, if your student is possibly looking to play a sport at the collegiate level, so they would need to be NCAA eligible. Next, we have, as Ms. Gosnell just went over, information, or she went over the information, whether or not your student would like to be in the middle years program for international baccalaureate. So they would check yes or no. I know we went over those start times a little bit ago. So again, they would check yes or no. All students are going to take that world history next year. Again, we won't be offering the honors next year. Next, they have a choice between the English, sophomore English, or honors sophomore English. And then moving forward, they have a lot of math choices. We went in depth in class about this, of if they're in this math this year, then they need to go in this math next year. And again, if they have any questions, you know, I'm in integrated math 1, where do I go? They can come see us during office hours and lunch. And also we did go through it on that video that we will be up on the website by Tuesday. Next, moving on, they'll pick a science course. If your student is in biology this year, they'll most likely go into chemistry next year, as long as they're meeting those prerequisites. If they're in physical science this year, they'll most likely go into biology. And it is really important that they kind of know those prerequisites. I would always encourage, and I always keep referring back to that course description book that's on our website. It is very important for students to be looking at that. Hey, I want to take this class. What is the prerequisite? So they know what it is. I love to say to our students, knowledge is power. And I want to empower them, and I want them to have that knowledge at their fingertips. So we want to teach them where that knowledge comes from. Next, they'll pick a world language. Again, for wanting to be A through G eligible for that four-year college, they would go on and take a world language. We do have the 3 languages, German, French, and Spanish. Most of our sophomores will be going into the second year of a world language next year. Every once in a while, we do have a student that it is their primary language, and so they might go ahead. Next year, we do have the implementation of 2 new world language classes, and again, that's the honors French and the honors German. If your student's not planning on taking a world language next year, either they don't meet the prerequisite, or they don't want to take a world language next year, they can click on that I do not meet the prerequisite, or I do not wish to take it. And it will actually take them to a different page. It's a smart form, so it's going to direct them differently. And it's going to have them fill out an extra elective form. So when they're filling out these elective forms, please, please, please encourage them to choose different electives. We have so many awesome electives offered here at Claremont High School, but we want to make sure that each elective that they're choosing is different. We can go ahead and go back, Ms. Cizek. So they choose 2 there. And then if, whether or not they're taking a language or not, let's say they're going to take German 2 next year, or even if they aren't taking a language, either way, it's going to direct them to this next page. And this is our electives. They get a primary and then those 2 alternate electives. It is really important, again, that they're choosing different electives. We know, let's say that your student, as a sophomore, they're going to be taking their world history, their English as their second class, their math is their 3rd class, their 4th class is science, their 5th class, their A through G bound, a world language, and then for their 6th class, you know, I'm a part of Coronova and I know I'm going to be in Coronova. Please still put down alternate electives. we'll make sure that you'll get pushed into your primary elective if it's like an audition class that you have gotten into, Coronova, yearbook. But it is really difficult. Oftentimes we have students, and I've seen this several times this year, that put the same electives down for every spot of like, well, I'm going to make sure I get this class. And unfortunately, that doesn't always help. Because if there's not room in intro to video production, the first time I try and put your student into it, there's not going to be room the second or third time. So please make sure it's those 3 separate electives if they are doing a world language, and 5 actual different electives if they are not doing a world language. Then if you keep moving, there is a box that we really want your student to utilize to provide extra information for us. We know that a lot of times we have siblings, and as was said earlier in the presentation, we can't have all of our students have that 0 period. But we also know that a lot of senior siblings bring sophomore siblings to school. So if you have a senior sibling and you're like, I really need them to have, I need to have a 0 period, go ahead and put that in there. Again, we will try our absolute best. We try to accommodate as best we can. But the more information that you put in there, the better that we can support you students and parents, the better we can support your student. Finally, they will check the student and parent understand that the placement in selected courses is subject to availability, prerequisites, and completion of any applicable summer assignments. If the prerequisites are not met, student will be scheduled in a traditional alternate course. For example, if they're not meeting the prerequisite for honors English, they would be placed into sophomore English for next year. Then you'll hit submit, and you'll go back to that same form that we originally saw. Students and parents, you can edit this form until April the 3rd at 11:59 to be able to change those answers. Again, I encourage you, talk to your student, meet with your student about this. Students, make sure that you're meeting with your parents about this. We want their input, and we want to make sure that they know what your plan is, what your goals are, and what classes you're signing up for. All right, now it looks like we'll move on to questions.
Parents, please continue to post your questions in the chat. I know some of our counselors have been answering those as we go, but we can certainly continue to answer some of them live while we're on right now. So please continue to post your questions, and we'll try to get to all of them this evening. Okay, I'm going to start reading some questions, counselors, if we want to divide these up and start taking them. It says, may we get some more details about the American Sign Language class? Is it going to be offered in 2022, 2023? I believe it's a Citrus College course. So does 1 year of it count as 2 years of a foreign language? And what time of day will it be offered? On what days the week? And then they said, I believe it's offered after 3 p.m. I know Mrs. Mitchell is typing an answer, but would anybody like to take that question?
I'd be happy to. So for the last few years, Citrus College has offered some courses to our students at Claremont High School under their dual enrollment program. And we spoke about this in earlier slides today and mentioned it to students when we were in their classrooms. Dual enrollment courses are college courses taught on our campus, typically by our teachers during our school day. Each Citrus College dual enrollment course is a college course, and it's a duration of 1 semester, and that course earns dual credit, meaning both 10 high school credits and 3 college units that students can accrue and keep for wherever they go after graduation. The Asl class has been offered at Claremont for a couple of years, but we have struggled with being able to offer ASL 2, which is the second semester of ASL instruction, and that happened again this year. Our ASL teacher has not been a CHS teacher. It has been a citrus professor. And that's been one of the struggles, is having the teacher time for our high school bell schedule. So we do not advise students currently to plan on ASL being offered because of the struggles we've had in launching ASL 2, which is the second year of American Sign Language.
You know what, Ms. Saber, there's another question on that, so I'm gonna tag on, and if you want to address this, I think you addressed some of it, but it goes a little bit further. It says, I saw ASL is being offered as a language on the form, and it has 2 course numbers, so it probably counts as 2 years of a language, but can you clarify if it's offered during the hours of 8:30 to 3:30, or is it after hours, and if it meets 5 or 4 or fewer days a week?
So our ASL course has been offered both at the end of the day, and it was planned to be during the day, but that didn't happen. So we did have to move it to after school hours, like a 3:30 class. Again, the primary factor was securing the professor time from Citrus for that course. The other Citrus dual enrollment courses we offer, we have CHS faculty teach it who have met the Citrus employment requirements, but the ASL course has been different. And that difference in the ASL professor has really challenged us in being able to offer ASL. So there is ASL 1, which has 1 code. ASL 1 completion in 1 semester earns 1 year of world language credit. Completion of ASL 2 with a different code number earns the 2nd year of ASL credit and the 2nd year of world language. Currently, we plan to hope to offer ASL 1 and 2, but we've struggled to provide it. And we want to be transparent about that struggle.
Thank you. Someone asked the question, I'm not really sure, well, I'm not really sure what the question is. It says, but what about the CALM program? I guess I'll just say this, because I'm not sure what the question is here, but the CALM program, because you're strictly online, they have their own set of classes. So you are limited in what is being offered when you do enroll in the CALM program. For example, they do not offer the AP, the IB courses, things like that. So I would encourage you to talk to your current CALM teachers and instructors to find out if there's certain classes that you're interested in to see if those will be offered. That's one limitation to that online program, is that they're very limited in the number of courses they offer, and they don't offer the advanced courses. Okay, someone asked the question, can you share the difference between taking French 3 and French 3 honors? Who would like to answer that?
I'll try. So Honors French and Honors German 3 are new offerings for the 22-23 school year. Previous to this, we have never offered Honors German 3 nor Honors French 3. If you are interested in the Honors 3rd year language, please select that on your course request form. We will do our very best to place you in that course.
Okay, next question. My son indicated he chose physics, but I didn't see that on the list you just shared. Also, he does want to continue in ASB and indicate he chose that as well. Does he still need to choose alternate electives?
I can answer that with my camera on. So if, I apologize, I forgot to turn it on. If he indicated that he chose physics, it wasn't an option on the course request because students are either taking a biology, and if they're in biology, the next course in progression would be chemistry. However, students are able to take physics if they're going to be concurrently enrolled in integrated math 2. He still would need to select chemistry on his course request form. In the additional notes section, he can indicate that he's interested in taking physics, and that can be discussed with his counselor. The second part to that, if they are looking to be part of student council or ASB, definitely include alternate electives just because they are selected in positions that they're ranked for. So there isn't a guarantee that they will be placed in student council.
But I will add on to that. Let's say that they are placed in student council or in ASB. What we do is we take out the other alternates because we want them, we want them to have ASB. So once we know for sure that they're in, we'll take out the other alternates. Okay, next question. How many credits of tech ed is required?
It's a 1 semester course, 5 credits.
However, for those of you who are opting to take the challenge exam, and if you pass, the requirement on your transcript is shown as met. You do not receive credits, but it's just shown as that you've met the requirement. But if you take the class, then it's 5 credits. Next question, is there a visual flow chart of the science and math choices? The handbook is dense and confusing for those of us not used to the American school system. Anyone want to take that?
We don't have a science flow chart. Excuse me, but there is a math flow chart. We'll see if the math department will publish that for us. I believe I saw it on the district website under the academics tab on the district website, but our math department at the high school has not posted it on the CHS website.
You could also, if you can't find it, reach out to your child's math teacher, and you can just say, hey, do you have a copy? Or you could always contact the counselor too. Okay, I have another one here, but I don't see a question. So it just says IB World History, AP Environmental Science, and Honors English. If you could actually, if you do have a question there, please go ahead and type that. I'm not sure what the question is there, so I'll leave that there, but please go ahead and post your question. Now, the next question is, my daughter had already registered for chemistry for summer school. I got a request to accept her class. The instructions say the next step is to enroll in the class through the Citrus College, but we haven't been able to do that. When will we actually be able to register? I would suggest at this point, send an email to your counselor. At that point, we're going to forward on to Dr. James Mitchell, who has been working hand in hand with Citrus College. He will check to see if you have any remaining steps in the process. If so, he will go ahead and send you that information.
And I can add on to that just because I went through that process with Dr. Mitchell earlier today with another student. If they're at that step where they've already received information for you to accept their college, that means you've completed the concurrent enrollment form. So you're up to date with everything that you need so far. The rosters are going to be established late May for the Citrus College chemistry course. So there's nothing else at this time that is required for you to complete.
Okay, is there an entrance placement exam for enhanced IM3 pre-calculus for my child? Whoop, it just jumped on me. For my child to be eligible for fall of 2022.
Ms. Cizik, I don't mind taking that. I was just about to try to answer in the chat.
Okay, go ahead, Mrs. Mitchell.
So, and anybody else can jump in if I'm missing something. We rely a lot on teacher recommendation for that. If students are successfully completing Integrated Math 2, and they'll often ask, if I'm getting an A in Integrated Math 2, can I take IM3 pre-calculus? Technically they can. However, this is a very accelerated class. It's taking 2 math courses in 1 year. So my recommendation is typically that the student inquire of the math teacher, and often I'll ask the teacher to also email me because some students are doing very well in their math class, but the teacher knows behind the scenes how hard that student is having to work. They know how much time might be going into that student to be successful in Integrated Math 2. And what we don't want is a student to all of a sudden have their confidence kind of depleted simply because the pace of that combined class might be just a little bit more than what they're prepared to handle. And so successful completion of IM2, but also teacher input is valuable so that we can make sure that the student isn't overwhelmed with the pace.
I think that's a great answer. Okay, we have the next one. It says, I'm not sure what the question is here. It says the CHS electives option says IM3. Which one is more accurate? Anybody know what that might mean? I would say then please go ahead and post your question again and try and give us a little bit more detail. Next, the question is, can the student pull it up on their school iPad? Now I'm going to assume you're referring to the Google Doc, the sophomore course registration form, and the answer is yes. Everything that we showed you today, the students can pull up on their iPad. Matter of fact, today during class, that's what they used to pull up all the resources. We took them through step by step and showed them every single resource that's on our counseling page. And we took them through the process to select their classes using their iPad. So absolutely. Okay, next, do you know if there's an ASL course offered somewhere else that can fulfill the CHS credits? My student with a disability will struggle to learn a different language, but wants to go to a four-year college. Is there an ASL class at a community college that they could take to transfer credits to CHS?
It's possible. Citrus College offers ASL 1 and 2, as does Mount San Antonio College, known as Mount SAC.
Okay. Also, here's a big question. Is the Bell schedule changing for next year? Would like to take that one.
I'll try. We have not heard that the Bell schedule will be altering in any significant way for next year.
Okay, my son is interested in the dual enrollment courses, but he said they were not offered on the form he filled out today.
I can go ahead and take that one. So the dual enrollment courses are embedded throughout the form. So many of the dual enrollment courses that a sophomore would be able to take are going to be under the electives. So for example, you would find Muse 113 under there, you would find Art 110. So again, they would be embedded. And also you can tell if it's a dual enrollment class, it'll say Citrus, and it would have like the code, like a Muse 113, or like I said, Art 110 listed on there. And it does say Citrus dual enrollment. So you can tell what course it is. And those courses are also listed on the elective form. The elective spreadsheet that lists all the electives that we offer at CHS.
Okay, does History of California apply as an elective or in place of world history? It says or concurrent enrollment.
The History of California fulfills an elective. It does not fulfill either world history or US history.
Okay, next question. Maybe you can help me, guys. It says, can you take all 3 of those, or you have to take only AP, only IB, or only honors?
I'll answer. You can take all 3 of those. So there are IB honors classes for English, for instance. And if you're taking any AP course, they follow that coursework, and IB isn't, the philosophy isn't embedded in that because they're trying to accomplish the goal of the AP. So therefore, honors will be MYP as well, but AP will just be AP itself, but they can be an MYP student and take AP classes. They are not limited in that way.
Okay, the next question, it says, when will we find out the summer school schedule? So if you caught it, and I apologize if we went quickly, but when we went to the course registration form, there was a link that had summer school, a pre-registration link. When you click on that link, it has the summer school, the dates of summer school, and the times of summer school on that registration link, because some of them differ, depend on the course you're taking, depend on if it's remedial, depend on if it's Citrus, it's CHS. So you can click on that link. You can also go to the CHS webpage, click on counseling on the main page, and under news, we also have the summer school pre-registration link. Okay, I believe we answered this one. Okay, okay. Boy, you guys are answering questions quick. I love it. Okay, I think we've gotten through all of the questions. Are there any other questions at this time? Any questions at all? You've had a lot of great questions.
I just want to add, I think that one question that we took off was probably referring to the question I answered about the physics, because I'm looking on the course catalog, and it does say completion of integrated math 2 with the C. So they might have been asking if it's concurrent enrollment in math 2 or concurrent enrollment in math 3.
Yeah, and I'll mention again that the course description book is a great resource not only if you're comparing classes of which one do I want to take, but also to look at prerequisites. So that's a great resource, as well as that elective list. That's the most up-to-date to be able to find out and get more information on every elective course we offer.
And I'm
So
going to, oh, I'm sorry. I was going to ask my phone a friend, neighbor in the office, Paula, do you know what's the correct prerequisite for that physics course for math?
Give me a second.
No.
You know what I'll do? Let me take a question while she's looking. It says, is the Tech Ed Challenge exam open for rising sophomores this year? So we know if we have to plan for it to be taken later. Mrs. Mitchell, I saw you typing an answer. You want to take it?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that one. So what we told students in classes today is that we do expect that it will be offered one additional time this spring. Is that correct, colleagues?
Correct. Yes, I asked the question today. We're just waiting on a date.
The date. So when students sign up for Remind, as we instructed them to do, we will be giving that information as soon as we know it. So through Remind, through Canvas, as long as they are checking and opening those announcements or those reminds, they should get the information as soon as we get it. But there should be one additional offering this year.
Going back to the physics question, if we could. So the requirement for physics is to complete Integrated Math 2 with a C or better, and biology or chemistry or zoology botany with a C or better. But I will advise that it's been our experience at the high school that students who do not take chemistry and pursue physics, and we do offer a lot of advanced physics at the high school, including AP Physics and IB Physics. Many colleges really want scientists to be balanced and take chemistry at least once in high school. So if you want to take physics, great. But we do not recommend that you bypass the chemistry, because the 3 branches of science, biology, chemistry, and physics are all recommended courses of study for STEM majors.
And I'll just add to that what Mrs. Hebert just said. I have seen my share of seniors in the past who've done that, who were in higher level courses. Once they started solidifying their college course list, scrambling in their senior year to find a regular basic chemistry class simply because they omitted chemistry and moved past it, but colleges didn't want to see that that branch of science taken.
Okay, on that same line, our next question actually has to do with chemistry. If your student takes chemistry this summer through our summer school program, which science do they take as a sophomore? And I don't mind answering that. That's really up to you. We, once again, go to that course description book. We offer a lot of different science classes. So I really encourage you to evaluate, look at all of them, read what they're about, and then really it's up to you and what you would like to take. But I do want to talk a little bit about the summer chemistry. A lot of students say, oh, I want to take chemistry. I just want to get it done. That's not the point. We offer chemistry in summer school for those students who really want to be able, maybe they love science, they want to take 5 years of science, they want to get to advanced science because they enjoy it, because that's what they want to do later on. Those are the type of students that we want to take chemistry. You have to remember, a full year of chemistry is 36 weeks. Summer school is around 5 to 6 weeks. That summer school chemistry course is tough. Okay? So you really need to be prepared. And the other piece is, if you're going on to the higher level and you only have 5 to 6 weeks, you are not going to be as prepared as someone who has taken the full 36 weeks of a chemistry course. So I tell students, I do not recommend chemistry in summer unless your point is taking it to advance to a higher level and you want to take as many science courses as possible. Okay, I've had students say, you know what, I want to take it just to be done. But colleges encourage you to take 3 years, so you don't want to be done. And you want to get the most amount of information and knowledge that you can take with you to those higher level science courses or once you go on to college.
If I can just piggyback on what Ms. Cizik is saying, because I think this is a good segue into something that's really important. And we did try to emphasize this in classes where students were really chomping at the bit saying, well, can I take 7 classes? It's very important that they remember balance. And what we told the students today was, We were so excited about their questions. A lot of them are really eager, and that's good. On the flip side, they need to remember next year as sophomores, they're taking a whole additional academic course. They don't have a social science this year. Next year as sophomores, they have everything that they've got this year plus history. So with that added rigor, with a next level of math, a next level of a language, they're going to be very busy. And these are students that we're hoping will still be able to continue with their extracurriculars, all the things that keep them well-rounded. So parents, as you're guiding them to make those selections, they will see lots of things offered and they will get very excited about it. But timing is everything. And so just keep in mind, you know your student, you know their level of stress and how they handle it. And we want to make sure that they take the courses and it's a healthy balance for them so that they're challenged enough, but not enough to overwhelm them or create issues for them that we just don't want to see them face in their sophomore year. So just something to keep in mind. They will have additional rigor by having a social science class next year.
And parents, I'll remind you again, I see a couple people raise their hand. Because we have so many participants, it's really just easier if you actually put your questions in the question answer chat feature there, and we'll definitely try and get to all the questions here. We actually only have a couple left here. It says, when will we be notified that our student is enrolled in summer school? We've already filled out the pre-enrollment form, but we're not sure if they actually got into the PE class, which will determine what classes she selects for next year. Anyone?
Go ahead, make the selections for sophomore year based on the assumption that PE will be fulfilled in summer school. We can always amend it if your plans change or other circumstances arise. The same is true for students who plan to take chemistry this summer and in order to take a different science next year or advance faster in science. In our summer school program, some of our courses are funded by the school district, and some of our courses are funded by Citrus College. They are our college partner, and they fund some of our enrichment courses. That's why for some courses like chemistry or pre-calculus, there's the second step for enrolling in summer school. The summer school classes are CHS high school courses. They are not dual enrollment courses. They're not offered at Citrus's campus, but they are funded by Citrus, and therefore Citrus requires a secondary registration step. We will be working with students at the high school who need those extra steps. We know it can be a frustrating process to get the Citrus ID, complete multiple forms, and get multiple emails. We do understand, and we will be supporting you through that.
I'll also add, typically once classes start to fill, we as counselors are notified, and then they're also removed from the form to be able to sign up. So once again, you can assume at this point that you're going to get in. The only caveat would be maybe if they couldn't find a teacher or something. But I can tell you we have plenty of PE teachers who are willing to teach summer school. So that's a definite. But certainly sign up, and we can always make adjustments later if we need to. Now, on the same summer school question, we have one that says, are summer Citrus College courses graded or simply marked as met on the transcript?
All of summer school classes are graded. The option to have a pass grade, which existed for a portion of last year and the 1920 school year, is gone. So all coursework, both in the school year and in summer school, receive grades.
And this one's for Ms. Gosnell. It says, if my student enrolled in MYP where their enhanced integrated Math 3 pre-calculus be a regular class or an MYP philosophy class?
It would be regular. At this point in time, we are only embedding the philosophy into IM A, B, 1, and 2. So the math courses that the majority of our freshmen and sophomore take. Any advanced level courses we are not embedding in at this time.
And if I can back on that.
Go ahead.
I think it's important to clarify that Claremont High School for over 12 years has had IB diploma option, and our IB diploma courses that are identified as IB math or English or history or art do have the IB title in front of them. IB diploma coursework is only offered to grades 11 and 12. And it's offered for both students who pursue the IB diploma, as well as students who wish to take a hybrid, an IB course, an honors course, or an AP course. Those are called certificate students for IB. So I think it's important to distinguish that as we approach this MYP integration, your students, should they opt into MYP for sophomore year, when they receive their schedule in August, when they make their selections now, none of their courses will be titled IB or MYP courses. They will be titled as they are currently.
Okay, and one last question I have here, and Mrs. Mitchell, I'm going to throw this to you. It says, what do you tell a student when they question why they need to take classes that they believe they will never use in real life?
That's a tough question because, as we know, our students know everything that they will need to know in real life. That's a tough one because this is that age where there's that independent thinking, which we foster, but we also know that they just don't always see the big picture. And so I think it's just a constant reiteration that we're always on a path of never-ending learning. And quite often when students ask that question and they'll say it about a specific class, I'll tell them, you know, if anything, this class is teaching you how to learn something that is difficult, or it's teaching you problem solving. So even if you think you're not going to use this specific skill set or the specifics of this subject matter, you'd be amazed at what your brain is teaching you or how your brain is wiring so that you're going to be able to solve other problems, because that has been proven. Sometimes it's a hard sell because they can get stubborn, but at the end of the day, it's a balance between listening to their voice, but also imposing a certain amount of, this is a requirement. The good thing, parents, is that a lot of what they're taking in their sophomore year is still required. So they do have a choice of elective, but most of what they're taking are classes that they have to take, and we told them that in class. So the challenge does become greater as they move into junior and senior year, where a lot of requirements are completed, and now they really can elect to take more science or more math or so forth. We're always going to encourage them to challenge themselves with a fair amount of balance, because we don't want to overwhelm them. But I'm going to always encourage, and my colleagues will do the same, students to push themselves to learn things that they may not think they're going to need. But in reality, we know that they need those skills, and how do you push through? And I'll often equate it to a job and remind them that you're going to be on a job someday in which you're going to have to learn skills quickly to be able to execute your job. And if you don't have practice learning things that you maybe aren't 100% interested in, you're really going to suffer on the job, and you may not be able to move forward in ways that you want to. So stay in the struggle with that, because it's difficult, but they're going to get that message from us. So as long as they're getting it from us and getting it from you, hopefully we can help them realize that we do have their best interest at heart when we're advising them to keep pushing and keep learning.
It's a great answer, Mrs. Mitchell. She actually has 2 teenagers, so that's why I called on her. Okay, actually, one of the responses, they thanked you for your response. It says, will there be a meeting to help navigate the NCAA requirements? I know, I don't know, Paul, if you can jump in. I know we typically, something we did prior to the pandemic, I don't know if we have something slated on the books for that.
We don't have anything booked currently, but the NCAA did suspend some of their requirements, most importantly, the admission testing requirement for the last 2 years. It looks like they're reimposing the admission test scores for the class of 2023, but more remains to be seen. At this point, though, we do want students to let counselors know if they are thinking about playing sports competitively in college, because the NCAA does have a very explicit set of rules of how many academic courses you should take in high school to be eligible to play at Division I and Division II schools. So that is something we want to help plan with your students. So please let us know if you're thinking about it. Just marking that interest guides us on those discussions. You're not committing yourself to anything. It just simply allows us to address a need for your learning and your planning.
I also want to jump in. I want to remind you on that very first screen that I showed you at the very top, it had the comparison chart where we looked at the Claremont High School graduation, the minimum requirements for the UC and the Cal State, and then it also had the NCAA requirements. Okay, so that's listed there. If you go back and you just click on the counseling webpage, we actually have an NCAA worksheet that's listed there that will help you in that process. But the number one piece of advice is, like Mrs. Hebert just said, please let your counselor know, because we do a credit check with the students. And that's one piece that we also look at. If the student tells us that they want to be NCAA eligible, that's a piece we look at, and we will monitor for the next 3 years, as long as we know. Okay. Any last minute questions? I know we're running long at 7:17, but I'll tell you, boy, we've answered a lot of great questions tonight. If there's any last minute questions, please post it now. Thank you for the thank yous you're posting. We appreciate that. You know, we're really finding that we're having such a great turnout when we do these remote, because we're finding that people can log in and Zoom anywhere. So we do appreciate all of you logging in tonight. We had a great turnout. And certainly check out the resources we gave you. Sit down, like Mrs. Vogel said earlier, sit down with your son or daughter, review what they've submitted, look at the course description book, the elective link, and make any adjustments. They have until April 3rd at midnight to adjust those courses. After that, starting April 12th, they will go ahead and they will meet with their counselor. We meet one-on-one, so we can go over that credit check, talk about summer school, remediation or advancement, and then we review their courses. And last time, we can sit down and make any changes we need to make. And so we'll go over all that information. Okay, so it looks like we're good. Once again, thank you for all the thank yous. I appreciate that. And I hope you all have a great evening. Once again, thank you for joining us, and have a great night.
Good night, everybody.